have a confession. We've never watched Lost.
Now, we're tired of hearing about it, so we're finally watching the hit TV show for the first time.
Come along with us to the island.
And please stay close by because
we're so lost.
We need help. It's our dad. His stomach is really bad. We're also rewatching the classic ABC TV series Lost. I'm Bill Meeks.
And I'm Anne-Marie DeSimone.
And we are back where Anne-Marie. I don't know if you know this or not. It's important, though.
What?
This is the last official episode of Lost before the 2/3-part season finale. So we're almost there. We've almost finally...
We're almost there. We're almost there.
After 9 months, we've almost completed season 1. Which is good, because, I mean, that's about how long a TV show generally runs, right?
I have no idea.
And so then we'll be doing
They all take these weird 3-month breaks now. I have no idea what's going on.
Well, we had like our mini break.
We had a mini break.
And then we came back for the last half, and now we'll have our summer break, and then we'll start back
We'll have
up,
our summer break.
which is covering Gotham and whatnot. But you know what, Anne-Marie?
What, Bill?
We get ahead of ourselves. We're talking about the finale. We haven't even covered our spoiler policy yet. Why don't you tell people about that?
Hi, guys. We have a spoiler policy on this show.
We do. It's weird.
We do. It's very odd because normally we love spoilers. Spoilers make us happy. We like casting. We like knowing this, that, and the other thing. However, since this, that, and the other thing have all happened in Lost, we want to remain pure to the episode that we are covering or before. Like, we don't want to know the stuff that's going to happen in the future. If we hit on something and you're like, oh, I want to talk about that with them, but I can't, send us something and label it. Tell us what episode it's for. Or be like, you'll hear more about that later.
Yeah,
don't be like, in season 2, episode 4, about halfway through, you're going to find out that Kate is actually Jack's sister or something crazy.
Yeah, you can totally say, you guys are going to like this episode because there are going to be several characters who speculate about what's inside the hatch. But you don't say, in this episode, you're going to find out that the Cloverfield monster is in the hatch and it's going to become a found footage show.
Is it the Cloverfield monster or is it that thing from Stranger Things?
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things.
Strange Things. Yes, and not just strange, but stranger. It's a sequel to a show that never was. But you know what? Again,
we're getting ahead of ourselves.
We're getting off the beaten track here. We're here to talk about Lost. So, Anne-Marie, why don't you hit us up with the rhyming episode summary and we'll get started talking about it.
Uno momento. Okay. Does the raft mission have the right crew? Kate wants a spot on the shaky bamboo. Locke shows the hatch in an act of concession. Jack still doesn't trust him or his discretion. Katie collects all the karma she's won by being a gal who was born to run.
Katie, I was born to run. Anne-Marie, what'd you think?
For a Kate episode, this is pretty good.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, it was not bad. No, I mean, there's good and there's bad. I feel there was more good than bad. Still, I have many questions about Katie in the past.
Yeah.
So.
You say it was a Kate episode, but it was still good. It's the first time I've ever really felt sympathy for Kate at all.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying is I haven't really given two flying nothings about her. And now I kind of do.
Cool.
There's stuff happen.
By the way, if you're watching this live, you can join us in the chat, live.universebox.com. We normally record Thursdays, 8:30 p.m. EST. So we're doubling up this week.
Just to get through before.
So it's Tuesday, but generally Thursday, 8:30 p.m. EST. And we want to see a bunch of people in there for our big finale next Thursday, 8:30 p.m. EST. I think that'll be September 1st.
The day after my birthday.
Yes. So it'll be a
good
time.
For anybody who cares.
we hope to see you guys there at live.universebox.com. Okay, but I guess we should get started talking.
Yeah, let's talk about
the
things.
Episode. Enough dilly-dallying.
All of this dilly-dallying's got to go.
Too much dilly, not enough dally, I say. Okay, I wanted to talk first of all about the concept of best discretion. This comes up a few times throughout the episode. It's kind of... I felt even though Kate had the main story, this was sort of the thematic, the thematic, jive to the whole show, was the concept of discretion and using your best discretion. I loved the discussion / conflict between John and Jack during this week's episode, right at the front of this week's episode, and kind of played around a little bit as it went on. Jack doesn't trust Locke because he lies, yet it becomes pretty apparent throughout the episode that Jack does the same thing and will continue to do the same thing. Now, it's interesting because secrets, especially in a small society like this, are pretty toxic. They can sort of erode trust and erode, any sort of strength the group might have. But at the same time, John and Jack,
it's really weird to hear him called John, by the way.
Yeah.
Can you just call him Locke and make my life easier?
Can I call him John Locke?
John Locke Jiggly Arms?
John Locke Jiggly Arms. But, I think...
see? Jack versus Locke. Sorry. Quoting from the chat room.
Yeah, but they both had pretty good reasons for keeping the secrets they did. And it seemed like they were both working towards the good of the group. So what do you think, Anne-Marie? Are secrets okay if they're protecting the group, or do you think it should be all open all the time?
I think they need some sort of order to determine that first. I don't think everybody needs to know everything. Like, do we think the teacher who suddenly decided to remember things and show up needs to know about the guns? No, I really don't.
Yeah.
Mostly because he's obviously been hiding in a tree. But I don't... there needs to be a hierarchy, because they even talk about, he's like, since when do I report to you?
Yeah, exactly.
No, you don't, but you do. You think Jack thinks he's in charge, and really he's not. He's just keeping people alive.
Yeah, well, Jack's sort of become the de facto leader, probably because he's the only one who can keep everyone alive.
Well, I think that's the thing, is like, just because you're a good doctor doesn't make you a good leader.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. Like, I mean, obviously, when he's operating on people and stuff, I'm sure he kind of leads the operating room.
Yes.
But so that might give him some strengths that a leader might have. But at the same time, yeah, you're totally right. A lot of this subterfuge and everything going on within the group is because they don't have a hierarchy. They don't have a leader. It's, calling back to a book that has a lot of comparisons to this show, Lord of the Flies. That's kind of what happens there, is that there is no formal leader, formal society, social rules built. And so it all descends into chaos really, really quickly.
Right, which is sort of why we keep getting these fist fights and all sorts of like public embarrassment and like things like that. Like, that's not how life should be handled. But they're not going to take the time to set up some sort of, life or government, because they're still in the process of building a boat to get off of the island.
Yeah.
So it's weird.
But all this chaos and everything, I think it kind of comes to the forefront in Hurley's confusion over who knows what points.
Yes. Yeah,
who knows
Hurley
what secrets.
you could tell he's not a guy who's used to knowing things. So he thinks that if he knows it, everybody knows it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Poor Steve didn't even know about the polar bear.
But it kind of exposes an underlying weakness in keeping secrets in general. I feel like with danger, leadership or not, hierarchy or not, with danger all around them, I feel like everyone needs to know all of the information if they're going to stand a chance. And I feel like even though they have really good John and Jack Locke, John Locke and Jack Shepard, have really good reasons for the secrets they're keeping. At the same time, I feel like they're putting the entire group in danger by keeping them.
Don't you feel like after the whole Ethan took Claire and Charlie thing, that even these little bit people would be like, excuse me, I'd like to be in on some stuff. I'd like to be a part of the group. And, even after, they got her back and Ethan was wanting her brought in and, people are dying because they're coming out of the water. Still not completely confirmed on that, I guess. But,
well, we keep getting these bit players and they keep playing semi-important roles, which I have a point on later.
Oh, goody.
For sure. Let's see. Over in the chat room, Mike Lucero says, government and the way society should be structured was a central concern for both the real John Locke and another philosopher whose name is referenced in this show, Rousseau. The show plays with stuff like this, but never in a foreign grounded way. I love it.
Interesting.
Thank you for the comment, Michael. But it's definitely interesting. Like, I kind of err on the side of openness equals safety, secrecy equals danger and chaos and unrest, just in general. So I kind of come on that side of it, but we'll see where it takes them.
We will see where it takes
Although
them.
it's primetime network television, so people are probably going to keeping secrets from each other because that's the way drama works.
Drama.
Especially on primetime television.
Yes.
I feel like this sort of agreement on discretion, because I think they both agree to let the other have their secrets by the end of it. John and Jack, John, Locke, and Jack. But I feel like it's going to allow them to maybe work more closely together and in a more trusting relationship moving forward. Even though Jack kind of poo-poos that when Michael asked him about it, he's like, "No, we didn't make up." But the thing is, I will say that, I really love the scene where Locke was kind of being the interrogator, going around. They were like a cop duo. Locke was out questioning witnesses,
right,
and Jack was back taking care of the victim, trying to get information from him. And then they meet up and match up all their information and move forward. I'd love to see sort of like a CSI The Island spinoff with John and Jack.
I'm in. Well, I don't know about that. I'd like to see
Locke and Jack.
No, Locke and Walt.
Mm-hmm. Locke and Walt.
Locke and Walt.
That would be fun.
Wouldn't that be
fun.
good?
Because I was already thinking that Locke was so much older than Jack, that it was kind of like it's my last day on the job. I'm about to retire. I'm the young rookie guy that's going to replace you, and now we're working together on this case. It has like a whole cop dynamic thing.
I see it.
But obviously the two of these two guys are going to keep doing what they're doing as far as the secrets and everything. Mm-hmm. And they even make it kind of blatant in the episode, because they have a scene where Jack hides the fact that Sun poisoned Jin because it would do more harm for good in the group. And she probably has no chance or reason to reoffend. Mm-hmm. And then we get another scene where Locke is going to continue to keep Walt's secrets.
Yeah.
So lots of subterfuge. And the Derby Kid in the chat room says lots of philosopher names are referenced on Lost.
Interesting.
Maybe we should start reading some philosophy books.
Maybe I should know what some philosophy is.
You should. There's probably a book on Lost and philosophy, but it's probably going to have spoilers.
But I can't read. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, guys, listen. Here's my situation. Anytime I have a question about something, I try to Google it, and I try to be very specific. I'm like, what is the person's name in season 1, episode 15, who does this? And then I get to this wiki page that I don't know how I got to, and it's telling me all sorts of spoilery stuff that I have to just wipe out of my head.
Well, Anne-Marie, there's really only one solution for this.
How? What?
I think you need to live in the past.
Run away.
And then
run away from the pain.
No one will have spoilers.
Yeah, I guess so. Names on Lost have meaning. Names have Lost on meaning. Numbers on Lost have meaning. Lost has meaning on Lost. Okay. Anyway,
this is you.
This is me.
This is you on Lost.
Okay, so Runaway Kate in the past, not Runaway Kate in the present. Okay, so in the
one thing, Michael in the chat room says you can tweet or DM him for spoiler-free answers anytime.
This is true. I can do that. I may have to do that from now on because the internet is a dangerous place.
Okay, but back to Runaway Kate.
Runaway Kate. Okay, here's the way I took what the flashback has taught me in my interpretation skills. So I'm going to assume that her and Tom were married right out of high school.
Oh, you think?
I do, but for whatever reason, Kate ran. Something happened, Kate ran. And this explains Kate being married before and loving the man that the airplane belongs to. And also, I don't know, this is my notes, but that he says, it's not fair that you came back. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't, basically saying you shouldn't be here. Why are you here? What are you doing? There's obviously attraction and affection, and they kiss in the car, which is not good because he's married, has a 22-month-old baby, and all that sort of shenanigans.
Well, I that's interesting because I didn't read that as being her previous husband. I read that as just being her teenage boyfriend that she, still had some feelings for, obviously, and that, she was using him to get to her mom. Like she uses a lot of people on this show.
I took him as being the love of her life.
That's fair.
And
well, I'm not saying that one excludes the other. I'm just saying, I didn't. read him as being the one she had been married to that she mentioned a few episodes back during the game.
I'm just saying it makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it works.
Definitely.
It works, and especially because she runs at random times, so who knows, or whatever the bad thing is that made her run the first time happened. Okay. What is it that made her run the first time? Like, I get the impression from the tape, the 1989 Katie and Tom tape, which is also part of why I think that they got married right out of high school, is he was head over heels in love with her, and she might have just felt safe. Because I feel like that she had some sort of a bad family relationship. Like, I feel like she had an abusive father figure, whether actual father or not. Who knows? Well, obviously, there's probably thousands of millions of people who know. And I feel like she did something about it, and that's what made her mom upset or scared and made her have to run. I feel like Kate took matters into her own hands, which is what she tends to do. It just keeps forcing her to run. What's Michael saying?
Michael says you'll find out what Kate did sooner rather than later, but not this season.
Aha.
So season 2.
Season 2 coming soon.
Maybe. And the Derby Kid says, is it just me, or does Tom have a lot of parallels to Jack? I guess he's a doctor.
Huh.
He seemed like a pretty decent dude. Wasn't afraid to get into a little mischief.
Meh. I don't know. Maybe. Does Jack get shot in the chest and in a car accident soon? No? Okay. See, also, I get that she did something to initially have to run, but why has she become a professional at it? She has the trunk full of plates. She's sneaking into hotel rooms. The really bad hair dye, like, she's a brunette. Don't put a blonde wig on her again.
Well, because baby, she was born to run.
We're just gonna keep singing tonight. Okay.
Definitely.
And who wrote the letter and sent her the money?
Good question.
Who knew to send a letter under the name Joan Hart to that specific hotel that she was gonna break into?
Yeah, see, if she hadn't broken down crying, I would have said maybe she sent it to herself. Like maybe she got some money and sent it there, and she knew she'd go there. See,
that would have made sense.
But then she has the letter and she's crying.
And she found, well, I mean, she could have been crying for, but it was because she found out her mom had cancer.
Yeah, so I guess whoever left the letter would have had to have known.
And it obviously wasn't her mom or Tom, because both were very confused and upset to see her.
Maybe it was her brother.
Excuse me.
Sawyer. No. Dun, dun, dun. No. No, it's interesting, though, that she kind of had this very emotional letter in this episode, and Sawyer had the letter from...
Right.
Or the letter that he wrote to the original Sawyer in the first couple of 8 or 9 episodes or whatever. So it's kind of an interesting parallel between them for sure. For sure.
Very interesting.
Let's see. The Derby Kid. I think expanding on her comparison between Tom and Jack. I always thought Tom was the guy Kate would always love, no matter where she was or where she went. And I think in addition to him being a doctor, I've always thought Tom looked a lot like Jack. I could
Very
see
possible.
That. I could see that. But we're going to keep going on this thread because it was a pretty big part of the episode, and I wanted to talk about the plane.
The plane.
The plane, boss. The plane. Fantasy Island with Jack and Kate and Sawyer, and that's it.
That's all we got.
Okay. We've done a Gilligan's Island casting. We did another casting. Who would play Mr. Rourke and who would play Tattoo on Fantasy Lost Island?
Things that I've never seen.
You've never seen
No,
Fantasy
I just know
Island?
De Plane.
That's a shame. I think Hurley would definitely be Tattoo.
Is that the one who says De Plane?
Yeah.
That
and
is.
As far as Mr. Rourke, well, it would have to be Locke.
Yeah.
Definitely, because Mr. Rourke was always kind of mysterious, and you didn't know if he had magic powers or not because he made all these fantasies come true.
Interesting.
But, the plane. It's nice to finally know what it represents, which obviously is sort of her mistakes, regret, where she took it further than she meant to and got somebody important hurt.
Yep.
It makes a bit more sense now that she staged a bank robbery to get the plane back. Although I wonder, how did it end up in a safe deposit box when she left it in the car? It doesn't seem like something...
Yes, because you don't see her pick it up.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like something his wife would have kept after the way everything went down. Oh, you were driving with this woman, and maybe I knew she was in my house, and then you died, and there was this plane in the back of the car. Oh, I'm going to keep that for the kids,
And put it in a safety deposit box.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like something she would keep. So I just wonder,
Maybe they just didn't show her taking it.
well, she looks at it and then she gets up and runs.
That's what I was confused. Like when I was watching it the second time, I was like, "Wait, did she go back?" Nope, she didn't. She didn't go back for it. How does this work?
But if she took it,
Yeah.
then that would mean she put it in the safe deposit box and she staged a bank robbery to get it back. Which why would you do that?
Oh.
If you put it in the safe deposit box, you wouldn't need to stage a bank robbery to get it back. You would just go in there with your key, bloop bloop,
Interesting.
done and done.
Bloop bloop.
I have to say though, that the scene with her mom was both intriguing and heartbreaking.
Yes.
Like I can't imagine risking my freedom to say I'm sorry and then getting ratted out by the person who should love me the most and want to protect me.
Right.
And the question remains, and you kind of addressed this too. What could Kate have done that her mother would be so scared of her? I thought, back to the tape, when Tom said she always wanted to run away, she said, why? And I think we're kind of thinking the same thing here. Obviously, there was something not right about her home life,
Right.
whether that's at home or school home. There was something not right about
Something about life.
the life around her when she was growing up. But I feel like her mother probably wasn't part of the problem because obviously she cared enough to come back and apologize.
I think it was still her mother, though. Like, there's a lot of forgiveness for parents, I think.
I just mean that, like, especially if you're the type of person Kate seems to be.
That's true.
If your mother was cruel to you, would you risk your freedom to come back and apologize to her?
Probably not, no.
Yeah. So whatever Kate did to push her mother away, because obviously she did something horrific, it must have involved hurting somebody her mother cared about, I think. So maybe, like you were kind of thinking, an abusive stepdad, or is that too on the nose? I don't know. Maybe she killed her brother or something. I don't know.
That's
Yeah.
it had to be a family member. Like her mom didn't seem from the moment we saw her like that trashy of a person that it was just like some boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I don't think some boyfriend would cause so much I have to run from a young age.
Yeah, and if it was a situation where there was some sort of abuse and the mom knew about the abuse or had an inkling about it or found out about it even after the fact, I don't think the mom would have reacted this way when Kate showed up in the ER, or not the ER, but the hospital.
Right.
She wouldn't have acted in horror and helped me and, all this stuff. So there's something more going on there, I think, possibly, maybe.
Maybe it wasn't like a stepfather or a father or anything. Maybe it was an abusive brother.
Could be.
And
Could
that
be.
would almost be more of that. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's hard. Maybe.
Well, apparently we're going to find out soon. So I guess we should stop
maybe
speculating.
in the town she grew up in, there was a marathon and she beat her mom because she was born to run. And her mom just never let go of it. She was just upset because Kate was born to run and she ran faster because she was born to.
Anyway.
Sun poison gin.
Sun poisoning gin. Or Michael, actually. To just completely turn back to the island. So this felt way too extreme for something Sun to have done, even with the urging of Kate. Sun is a pretty passive. She's pretty chill. She doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't take extreme measures unless you count starting a garden to feed everyone. So there's that. She took a really huge risk by trying to poison Jin. What if she'd have used too much of the, I'm assuming, plant, or there would have been some undesirable effect, other than just the stomach cramping? Like, what if he'd have had an allergic reaction or,
Well,
died? She could have lost the love of her life.
By the same token, she would probably know about most of his allergies, and she does seem to be the
Herbalist.
the master of all the herbs on the island and everything.
Right, but I'm just saying, what if, oops, I put too much in, but I didn't know I put too much in?
Oops, I did it again. I poisoned your water. Got you real sick.
Okay. Or did Kate know about the plant to poison Jin? Well, Michael. Or did she just plant the seed of somehow poisoning them in Sun's head? Because Kate seems to have a lot of wilderness smarts. I guess that's what you get for being raised in Iowa. So I don't put it completely past her knowing that a specific plant could act as a temporary poison or what have you. But I feel like Sun went about everything the wrong way with this. And again, she's keeping another secret because she didn't tell anybody that Kate is the one who had the idea, but she does say that Jack knows. But yeah, Sun went the wrong way about handling Jin wanting to leave. She should have kept trying to talk to him instead of standing back. She was getting through to him because they were starting to speak at least a little bit because of everything with Boone and Claire having the baby. And, she's the only one who understands Jin. So it's necessary.
Yeah, by the same token, I can see how it all went down though, just because Sun and
Would you poison me if I was trying to leave the island?
Yes, but Sun and Kate seem to have a very close relationship. Like, I mean, Kate knew about her speaking English well before everyone else did. So I could, in the way Kate acts, her kind of MO is that she gains trust and then takes advantage of it to her own purposes.
Right.
So once it was revealed, I was like, of course that's how it went down. I can't see it going down any other way than how it did.
Right.
Over in the chat room, Derby Kid says, I pulled up the episode with the sound off while listening to the live stream, and Evangeline's face during the scene with her mom in the hospital is tearing me up. And then Michael Lucero says, spoiler, Kate's mom resents her because Kate took over a Pokemon gym and that she'd worked so hard to conquer. Pokemon Go. Ripping families apart. Okay, as always, we would love for you to help spread the word about this show. Go over to iTunes, leave us a review. We'll read it on the show. No one left a review this week.
That's like 4 weeks in a row, y'all.
Yeah, please.
Somebody.
Pick up the pace.
I know y'all are out there.
They can be bad reviews.
But if you're leaving us a
bad
review,
horrible.
Why are you still listening if it was bad? Just saying.
Well, I mean, they could be funny bad.
At least
they could be funny bad. But in lieu of all that, we're going to tell you about our Patreon. Anne-Marie, why don't you tell them about it?
Hi, guys. We revamped our Patreon. So if you go over to patreon.com/universebacks, you're going to find a whole bunch of new stuff, including a video that we're going to make soon. So we've updated all of our rewards. We've updated our goals. Apparently, Patreon has also been doing some updates, and your minimum donation per month is now $1 versus 10 cents.
But you get a bunch of stuff for $1.
Still not that much. But we also, as a part of our new Patreon movement, if you will, we are going to be recognizing our 5-star patrons. So as of right now, it's
$5 star patrons club.
I don't like the way that you have that written.
You have to say the name properly. $5 star patrons club.
$5 star patrons club.
$5 star patrons club.
$5 star patrons club.
Okay, Jason Ritter, Becca Baca, Angel, Kelsey, Monica Jones, Sage of Earth, a.k.a. Patty, Harry Seidler, Timothy Peters, Lisa Babick, and Hope Molinax are all members of the $5 star patrons club. And when we write a will, can we not
get morbid?
Who knows if the $5 star patrons club might not be included? They could get this Pokemon hat I'm wearing. We could send them
There would
microphones.
be a very angry child.
The fluffy thing on the end of your microphone.
Oh, somebody's getting this. It's a lot of lipstick from our suicide thing.
And, all sorts of cool things we're trying to work up here. A bi-weekly movie commentary.
We're going to get back to it if we hit the goal again.
Once Upon a Time, live-streamed reactions, video series teaching you everything we know about podcasting, or a live event in Orlando for Universe Box people, live-streamed and big party. So if you want to get all that and be in our will, like the 25 people currently giving us $114 a month, go to patreon.com/universebox. And to remember to think outside. Okay,
outside.
Now, as always, we're going to have our resident Lost expert, Michael, chime in with his thoughts on the episode, non-spoilery. Take it away, Michael.
Y'all remember Joanna, don't you? Huh?
Yep.
The woman who drowned? Now what's Anne-Marie doing with poor Joanna's passport? Could it be she'd do just about anything to get off this podcast so she could run off with a new identity before half the reporters in the world descend on this recording studio? Hey, Bill.
Johanna did it.
Bill and Anne-Marie, it's Michael. This episode is another great one, both for the on-island storyline and the flashback. Lots of things get put into play here, or at least begin to be put into play. Locke and Jack seem to be at a temporary truce, but it's also clear that their rivalry is not over. Also, one of my least favorite tropes in television is characters keeping secrets from each other. But at least here they do it pretty well, I think. And these secrets are coming out now, and I think these moments are meaningful and interesting. Locke's debate with Jack and Saeed over whether to open the hatch feels like it has real consequences, since both sides have legitimate points. Of course, we as viewers want them to open the hatch. But Saeed does have a point. There could be any number of dangerous things inside there. For example, stored nuclear waste or a dozen caged smoke monsters. But most importantly, the reason I really like this episode is that it's far and away a much better episode than the last Kate-centric story, which was whatever the case may be, which was pretty much pointless in my opinion. This episode is basically what that episode should have been. We find out there that Kate killed a man, and here we actually see that happen. And we get the tragic and emotional weight behind that. It also kind of makes you feel bad for Kate, which is something that is, in my opinion, kind of an impressive thing to pull off, since she is pretty annoying most of the time. And not only for the tragedy of her being responsible for the death of her childhood sweetheart, but also the heartbreak of her own mother rejecting her and giving her away at the hospital. So ultimately, we learn here that Sun is the one directly responsible for poisoning Michael. But it's also clear that Kate put the idea into her head. I think it's intriguing that there's at least an implied ambiguity as to Kate's motivations here, whether she did it out of a sincere wish to help Sun keep her husband nearby, or if she merely saw an opportunity in Sun's fears to use the other woman for her own agenda without dirtying her own hands. I think probably both are true. And while in the past I've found this pretty annoying, now I kind of feel like it's more of a tragic fact about Kate, that even most of the time, even her best moments are tinged with this really pitiful self-interest. But even more tragic, I think, is Sawyer and his exchange with Kate at the end of the episode. Well, he says there hurts Kate and pushes her away, when they had beforehand been developing something of a relationship, and I think had a real connection and chemistry. Why would Sawyer say that? Why would he push Kate away? I think it's pretty clear, actually. Even though Sawyer is a lot more sympathetic than he starts out as, and is to a certain extent integrating himself into the community of survivors, he's still kind of motivated by the same things he always was at the beginning of the season, self-loathing and self-sabotage. He says what he says to punish himself, to cut off any chance he has at happiness. And I really feel for him here. This complexity, I think, is one of the things that makes him such an interesting character, too. This episode also features the introduction of one of my favorite minor characters, Dr. Arzt. I could be wrong, but I want to say he's the first background character that comes forward to play a major plot role in the show. And this definitely isn't the last that you've seen of him either. So, all said, I'd have to get this one 99 out of 108 doctored passports. As always, thank you. Namaste, and good luck.
And a namaste to you too, Michael. Thank you very much. And we'll always look forward to your insights. And we totally won't play Pokemon Go while listening to them next time.
Yes, we will.
Okay. All right, but we're going to go ahead and move on here to some more discussion points about this episode. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the hatch real quick.
Okie dokie.
Okay. First of all, I love that Locke wanted Jack in on the revelation. He had to show Saeed, but if Saeed knew, then Jack needed to know too. I think it's the way Locke was looking at it, and I also thought it was smart how they got him out there.
Oh yeah, I actually think that he was trying to make the peace. I don't think it was necessarily because he felt that Jack needed to know. I think he knew that them having such a harsh relationship was going to be toxic to the group, and he felt he needed to share this, and also he'd lost his right-hand man.
Yeah.
And Saeed's over there trying to talk him out of it, which might be a good idea. And he brings in Jack, at least maybe for another opinion. So
Yeah,
I don't think it was necessary.
I mean, I definitely think it was implied that Locke was in on the whole thing because he just hung back until they showed up. Well, okay.
No, I knew that he wanted Jack brought in.
But you think it was for
Different reasons.
than just strategic reasons.
Right. I think it was, it was strategic because it was bringing the peace to the island a little bit, because if you have the two of them, which are probably the two strongest character dudes, that's right, dudes, they're going to tear everybody apart. Because yes, Jack can keep you alive, but Locke can show you how to survive.
Yeah, and definitely that's something that Locke would want to get squared away as soon as possible because Jack's out there sowing seeds of discord
Right.
towards Locke, with the group and everything. So I can definitely see that. Now, you bring up Saeed's warning about not breaking into the hatch.
I do.
Saeed mentions that the hatch might be too dangerous because there was no handle on the outside. Now, why would that make it dangerous to open exactly? It's keeping people out, right? If there's no handle on the outside?
Yeah.
If there's no handle on the outside, there's probably one on the inside, which means somebody could be conspiring against them down there. If anything, Saeed's argument would make me want to open the hatch more.
Oh, well, yeah.
Because if there's a handle on the inside and the outside, then obviously there's something on the inside that's super important. Mm-hmm. And I want to get in there.
Well, we know that there's a light.
Yeah, I was wondering, did Locke tell them about the light? I don't think he did.
I don't think he told them about the light.
Because that would probably change their motivation to get in it a little more. If they knew there was, active electricity and everything.
Of some sort, yeah. And it's weird that he wasn't able to see anything. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it was an extremely bright light, but nothing. Not a shadowy figure. Nothing.
Yeah. But as interesting as I thought it was that Jack found out about the hatch, I thought it was more interesting all the sort of prophecies and foretellings that the great seer Walt.
Walt and his superpower.
Yeah.
Walt and his superpower. Okay, so it's nice that we got some Walt and Locke time because they always have. Excuse me, they're on a whole different level from everyone else on the island. One speaks to the island, one speaks to everything else. And it's especially nice with everything going on. But it seemed a little crazy when he warned Locke not to open the hatch or don't open it. So there's, that it could have been anything. And I think Locke was pushing him to say the hatch, the door, to be a little more specific. Because Locke was very obviously concerned in this conversation.
Yeah, especially because the island,
told him
the island has been pushing him towards this. So
Which would make sense if the island is malicious.
I was wondering, though, do you think that Walt's kind of foretellings and everything, do you think they're another method that the island is using to communicate with Locke? Or do you think that it's something else working against the islands once
I think it's something else because Walt already had the superpower before he got to the island.
Yeah, I guess.
So I don't think it's necessarily working
in the windows.
Right. I don't think it's necessarily working against the island. It may just happen to go that way if it's best for Walt. Yeah. Because I think Walt's superpower works to Walt's benefit, whereas the island works to the island's benefit.
Yeah.
Via John Locke. John Locke Jiggly Arms. So let's see. He never lets on that he knows what Walt's talking about. So he just still leaves it a little fuzzy for Mr. Walt. To the same note, though, Walt confesses to Michael about burning the first raft because he didn't want to leave. Big props to Mr. Michael for not getting upset, even though he really could have at that point. It would have been completely valid for him to have been upset with Walt. But he actually offers to just stay. He offers just not to go. But then Walt's response is kind of surprising. He's like, no, we have to leave.
Yeah,
we have to go.
I was actually earlier in the episode when Kate's like, you don't want to bring your kid out there. It's dangerous. I was thinking, you know what? Actually, this whole Michael thing with taking Walt out on the raft, it's really, really selfish. And really, I mean, go yourself. That's one thing. Help build the raft. That's fine. But, to take a kid out there when you might end up in Antarctica,
apparently, yeah.
Seems like a bad call.
But it was Walt and Michael's conversation that leads me to believe that Locke doesn't listen to anything. And I think that Walt knows that. It feels like Walt knows that Locke is still going to open the hatch, or maybe even Jack at this point, and he's terrified of what is inside. I mean, I am kind of.
Do you think maybe there's something manipulating Walt and Michael off the island for some reason?
No. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Not enough coffee today. I don't think there's something pulling them off of the island. I think at this point, the only thing pulling them off of the island is Walt. Not even necessarily Michael, because Michael would be cool to stay. I think he was doing this to try and build his relationship with Walt, but they've done that on the island. And, comfort's a home and all. But
So do you think you think they're definitely running away from something and not to something?
I think yes.
Do you think Walt was born to run? Walty, I was born to run.
I led into that one. That was my own fault.
Michael Lucero in the chat room says, "I agree so much, Anne Marie. Michael and Walt are such a great pair of characters.
They are exquisite.
Yeah, I really like them.
I'm using weird verbs or adjectives tonight.
Okay, so we had an expert in trade winds and sailing on the island the whole time, and this is the first time he's expressed any concern about the raft project.
Yeah.
Isn't this the type of dude who should have been involved in the raft project from the start, not, putting rocks on tarps 10 feet up the beach or whatever? Maybe he should have been the fourth seat. As much as Sawyer's supplies probably helped the initial raft project, don't you think having somebody who was an expert on, which way the wind blows?
But is he really an expert? I mean, he's a high school teacher.
He's the best expert they've got, probably.
This is true.
Because he's probably taught this. Think about a high school teacher. They teach the same material for 20 years.
That's true.
So he probably knows this whole winds and waves and all this stuff pretty darn well.
Yeah.
Especially, if he was already into that stuff and he was going to Australia for some reason, he might have looked a little more into it. Maybe make sure he doesn't get there during monsoon season.
That's true.
But it just seems so weird that he showed up so late in the raft project that I have a theory. Okay. So I'm thinking maybe he's from the same group as Ethan was, and maybe showed up around the same time Ethan did, and has sort of been biding his time until he could quash any plans the castaways had of escaping.
Maybe hold on, pause. Maybe he got in with Hurley to find out a name before, like, because Ethan didn't seem to. Yeah. Well, no, maybe he learned from that experience, like once he saw them going around, because Ethan was off doing his own thing when Hurley started all that.
Yeah.
Perhaps this dude, which I'm sorry, I don't remember his name, so please correct me, was on the beach, placing rocks on tarps. Maybe he was like, "Oh, Hurley, what you doing? Let me see," something like that, and sort of picked a name.
Yeah.
Easy done.
I could definitely see him infiltrating the group way early. So maybe he was placed there to sort of demoralize the castaways or throw them off course from what they should be doing. Maybe the raft plan is so good that it just might work, and that scared the heck out of Ethan's group.
That's fair.
So, and Michael Lucero says, interesting theory. Which probably means I'm on to something.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, so that's my theory.
Or you're completely off base.
Or I'm completely off base and he's sitting there laughing at me. That's the fun of the show. Okay, so you wanted to end talking a little bit about Claire and Charlie.
When do I not want to talk about Claire and Charlie? Let's just be honest. Okay, but they get cuter and cuter every week. Clarlie? Oh, did we have ship names back when this came out? We shouldn't.
We have since.
We shouldn't have them, though. They're awful. Oh, goody. He says, "Man, I can't wait for y'all to watch the finale." So
we're going to watch the first part right after we're done recording this episode. So
okay. So Claire and Charlie, they've really sort of become a bit of the old married couple / newlyweds all at the same time on the island, though not married. They don't they don't really have any drama. They take care of the baby and they love on each other by taking care of each other. He makes sure she rests after she's given birth in the middle of the woods, and she's sitting there cutting his hair while he's writing his music. Like, it's cute. It's they're loving on each other, but not necessarily in a romantic way, I don't think. I think it's there.
More like a peanut butter way, because Michael Lucero in the chat room says that their ship name was Peanut Butter from the peanut butter stuff.
Yeah, I get that. It's just weird. It's not the way ships work anymore. But like when he offers to let her and the baby, which is the baby still turnip head?
I'm gonna go with yes.
Okay, to stay with him in LA while they figure things out. I don't even necessarily think he was doing this to get a romantic relationship from Claire. I think he really just cares about her and this baby. I mean, it could possibly probably turn into a romantic relationship because they're stuck on an island, but
As far as Charlie though, like I thought it was really weird how hopeful he was.
yeah.
Like normally when I see a character this hopeful on a series, I'm like, okay, they're not going to
Bad
be
things.
around much longer.
I know.
So I kind of fear for Charlie in the finale here,
I do.
because you can't be so hopeful and non-cynical in this situation without it possibly, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because things can't turn out that good.
No. However, I enjoy his song "Monster Ate the Pilot" or something, whatever
Yeah,
it was.
yeah.
Smoke Monster Ate the Pilot.
My prediction, my wild theory,
Oh no.
is that Charlie finds the Virgin
Monster.
Mary heroin stash and ODs. That's my theory. And I'm sticking to it. Okay, time for the arbitrary scale. Time to find out what we thought about this episode in a very tight scientific way, in which I pick a random number and then assign a random object after it, and we
Okay.
rate it based on that. Okay, so Anne-Marie,
Yeah.
out of 12 bullets in Tom's chest, how many bullets in Tom's chest do you give this episode?
9.
9 bullets.
9
Why do you hate
bullets.
Tom so much?
I don't hate Tom. I actually really like Tom. No, I like the episode. Good things. I just something like it just didn't stick with me and like get me all excited as much as some other episodes have.
Yeah.
I blame the Kate backstory. The Kate story in general. No, what did you think?
I thought it was good. Like I was really, at first I remembered not liking it that much
Oh, you're tired.
when we first watched it, but then on the second watch through, I was like, this was a really good episode, and I think maybe it was Katie. Maybe it was Katie who kind of
Yeah.
won me over on it, because, like I said, I sympathized with her.
Okay.
And I also I do remember, because we have said I did watch the first season back when it first came out,
Right.
but I've forgotten almost all of it. But I do remember the finale being super awesome.
Which is weird since you stopped watching after that.
I did, but I remember the finale being super awesome. So I'm very much looking forward to revisiting that and because I remember there being a lot of revelations and stuff, and I could kind of see the groundwork for that being laid in this episode.
Okay.
So I'm very excited. If you're excited about the finale, why don't you write in and let us know what you thought about it? And you can do that at Anne-Marie, can you read the contact info here?
The contact info? Yes.
Yeah.
You can email us at we're so lost podcast at gmail.com. Join the Facebook group at facebook.com/group/we're so lost. Tweet us at we're so lost, or leave us a voicemail at 424-274-2352. Again, that's 424-274-2352.
And Michael Lucero in the chat room says, do you remember much from the finale? And no, Michael, I really don't. I have like a few images in my head, but that's about it. So let's see here. We did go one comment on our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/we're so lost from Ashley. And Ashley says, oh my God, Bill, your comment about Saeed going all in on Shannon made me spill my tea out. Hilarious. I didn't realize what I'd said until I said it.
Oops.
Ashley also says, Saeed is a lover and he falls very easily for people, as you will find out more about his backstory, which is very interesting. He is one of my favorite characters just because he is so different and an outsider, and I think we can all relate to that at some point in our lives, like getting treated badly or ostracized because of our skin color, gender, nationality, origin differences. I think it's a great contrast for the show to have characters like Saeed and Hurley, the big guy. And it's a credit to Lost that it has such a diverse cast, and that is what makes it the best show ever.
See? And I had actually been thinking it's a very not diverse cast.
Well, I mean, there's a fair amount.
No, there's one black guy and one black child, and then there's the 2 Koreans, and everybody else is white.
And Saeed?
Saeed, yeah.
Um,
That's it. That's it.
Well, plus all the flashback characters.
We have the flashback characters, and we
Well, you
have
think
all
that-
those others that we don't
You
know
think
yet.
that's 5 characters, right? And then you have Jack, Kate, Charlie, Claire, Locke, Sawyer,
and all the big characters.
and the rest of them are dead. Really?
A lot of them are dead.
So, no, it's a
I don't
great
know.
show, though. But if you want to let us know what you think about the show, we're so lost podcast at gmail.com. Facebook is facebook.com/groups/we're so lost. The Twitter is at we're so lost. And the voicemail number is 424-274-2352. Again, that's 424-274-2352.
Or if you'd like to tell us how you feel about it, come join us in the chat room and be like the Derby kid who just yelled "best show ever" at us.
Yeah, and we'll be recording live for the finale this Thursday and next 8:30 p.m. EST.
This Thursday, next 30.
This Thursday and next Thursday.
Yeah, that's not what you said.
This Thursday and next 30 at 8:30 p.m. EST at live.universebox.com. Emery, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at DeSimone, or you can check out my blog, crunchycrafty.com.
As for me, you can follow me on Twitter at Bill Meeks. You can follow all of the podcasts we do at universebox.com. And you know what?
I don't.
Neither do I. I'm so scared, Emery. I'm so scared. I feel like I know we've said it before, but we really, we're
so lost. Trying to keep up with you. Spirit fingers.
We did it.
We did it. We did it.
It was heady there. I was a little afraid we weren't going to make it, but we did. Okay, I only have... I didn't have many
No.
title
Well,
ideas.
we didn't have anything as awesome as John Locke Jiggly Arms.
Yeah, but
Nothing will beat that.
we do have 4 options to choose from here. We have CSI The Island,
No.
Joanna Biddit, Runaway Kate, and maybe Katie.
Maybe Katie.
Maybe Katie?
Maybe Katie.
Maybe Katie. You say maybe Katie. Mm-hmm. I say CSI The Island. Mm-hmm. So we'll let the chat room weigh in here.
Come on, chat room.
Runaway Kate so we have a 3-way tie, and Michael likes the first 2, including CSI The Island. So that gives CSI The Island
The advantage.
2 votes. So I think we're going to go with CSI The Island.
Uh-huh.
So it'll be good. It'll be good.
All right, fine.
I also liked maybe Katie too. Like I would have been totally happy if that
I
had
like
won.
maybe Katie.
But we're going with CSI The Island.
Okay, fine.
Okay, cool.
All right.
All right, guys. We love you very much. We will be back on Thursday. Because Derby Kid is recording her podcast, and we want to do this without her. So
No, that's so wrong.